And that's what I want them to be able to do. I want them to read this book and be like, if Matt has gotten through this and came out the other side, there's no reason why I can't do the same thing, because I'm just like them.
Hey everyone, Stephanie here, and today I am here to chat with the lovely Matt James from The Bachelor. He has a new book out, First Impressions. It's out May 3rd, and it's currently available for pre-order wherever books are sold. So yeah, Matt James, we have a new book out. I'm so excited. What inspired this book here?
Oh, Stephanie, I think that the inspiration came from feeling that a lot of who I am as a person and what I'm about, what I've been through, wasn't portrayed through my experience on the show. So, I was just like, I was frustrated. I was upset. I'm like, I need to set out to, explain myself. I need people to know where I'm coming from, to have context of why I did things the way I did. And as I'm writing this book with Cole Brown, I'm just like, theme after theme after theme. I'm like, this book really isn't about me or for me. It's for everybody, because the themes that I've been through in my life, the little bit that they shared on the show, allowed so many people around the world to reach out to me and be like, yo, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I found strength in your story to have this conversation with my dad, or someone in my family's been in and out of the penal system. And like, the fact that you're saying that and you've been through that, like, and you came out the other side, or, I'm a single parent that is raising two boys. And so all these different themes that the show like very slightly scratched the surface of, like, so much support all across the world, people reaching out and being like, thank you for that. There was so much more to share. And I wish that we would have doubled down on those meaningful experiences and interactions that I had and that I shared that just, never made that final cut, to have a more holistic view of who I am in that experience for everybody. But, that's why this project is so exciting for me, because everyone's going to have that window into what I've been through, First Impressions.
Of course. Yeah. And you mentioned, a lot of people could really sympathize with your story and relate. And, I imagine too, that this must be a very cathartic project for you to have undertaken. These are some heavy topics here. So what was that like for you to actually get these thoughts out on the page?
Stephanie, I had so much practice with this, because on the show, a majority of the anecdotes that I shared in the book, I shared on the show. Like, I shared with these women because I wanted them to know what they were getting with me. And there's a lot that I've been through that, isn't all flowers and roses. And when they heard those things, it allowed them to be like, oh, wow, like they peel away that layer of like, yeah, like they have you on this like pedestal. It's like, oh, you're the Bachelor. Oh, you're the Bachelorette. But like, I wanted to humanize myself, be like, yeah, that's who I am. But I'm also the son of this person. I'm also the brother of this person. Like, I've been through X, Y, Z. And like, I wanted to humanize myself for them, so that they were like, he's been through some stuff. And if they ended up with me, I wanted them to know that stuff going into it, not just be like, oh, Prince Charming, like, this was such a great experience. It's like, this was fantastic. It was a wonderful experience, but like, there's also some real stuff that comes with, my life and what I've been through, that you've got to be ready to accept. And if that's too much for you, then like, send yourself home. Like, I get it. Like, it's a lot, like, it's heavy stuff. So I just wanted them to have that option to make that decision for themselves, so that we don't get to a place where they're like, I had no idea that you went through this or that. Like, that's too much for me and my family. Like, it might be. So yeah, I had practice. The long-winded answer is I'd had practice, but no one ever saw it.
Yeah, quite a few bit of practice there. And, as much as, you wanted to humanize yourself with the women that were on The Bachelor with you, I feel like this book is going to allow you to be a more fuller picture of yourself too, for the masses here. So what do you want fans and readers to really take away from this story, and to take away from this picture of who you are?
I think it plays back into that first answer. Is like, there's so much that I've been through, and like, there's so many themes that people can draw strength from. And that's what I want them to be able to do. I want them to read this book and be like, if Matt has gotten through this and came out the other side, there's no reason why I can't do the same thing, because I'm just like them. Like, I'm no different than any other person who's going to pick up this book. I just was blessed and fortunate enough to be asked to be on this show and be the lead. And when they read what I've been through and they can relate and that resonates in their life, and they can use my story and what I've been through as, a roadmap or to build confidence when they're at the bottom or they're going through something that they don't think anyone else is going through. I want them to be like, no, Matt went through that and he made it out. So I just want to be able to draw strength from my situation.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to see a new side of you, or maybe a more complete picture of you with this book. So I'm excited for that. And, as much as we're talking about all these topics here, is there anything maybe that I don't want to say nervous, but anything that you're eager for them to read about, or anything specific in the book that you were maybe a little bit hesitant about sharing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say nervous. I would say more eager. Like there's so many things, again, that I shared throughout my story on the show, like not for my own sake. Like I already knew this stuff. I wasn't talking about it for my own health. Like I wanted people to hear this stuff. And I've got to assume that it was just too raw for that experience. That might have been too much for people to comprehend. And I think that people are pretty, from my experience, in the past, I've tried to hold things back from people because I didn't think they could handle it. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to share that person because it's too much for them. You'd be surprised. Like people can handle what you have for them, whether that's like, telling someone that you don't want to be with them anymore, opposed to ghosting them, whether that's like, you name it, like people can take it. And so I wish that they would have shared more of that, because I know that people can have an appetite for realness. And that's what I was bringing to the table. And that's what this book's about. It's just being real. And what did you say? Oh, anything specific? Oh, Rachel's helping me get back on track.
Oh, hi, Rachel.
Anything specific? I mean, just, I guess anything I'm eager about would be like the context of my childhood. There's not really, no, I'm not going to make anything up. There's not really specific, like there's so many different themes that people could draw from that is going to give them context to why I did things the way I did and why I am the way that I am. And not one in particular, because there's so many different things that I don't want to take away the importance of one over the other, because right. I think that depending on what you've been through in life, like you might draw more inspiration from something I've been through here than over there. And it could be two different things depending on, your family situation, your job situation, your education, where you're from, your ethnicity, how you were raised. Like it really varies. And I think that it's a blessing, because that wide net is going to scrape across the country, because there's so many different experiences that people have, me included, that there's at least one thing. There's got to be one thing that I've been through that you can be like, I feel you on that. Like that's real. Like, yeah. So.
Yeah. And, maybe we don't want to like spoil too much about what those specific instances are, like you mentioned. So people just have to read the book to find out everything.
They got to buy the book. May 3rd, you get a pre-order. I promise there's something good in there for you. There's something in there for everyone.
I'm excited. And, we were talking about your experience on The Bachelor and how you did mention some of these topics during the show. You were obviously in the unique position of being the first Black lead of the show. And I feel like maybe you had some unnecessary pressure to go along with that. You had the what's the word I'm looking for? You had to really weigh those topics in addition to, just being the Bachelor and like trying to find love. So I imagine that was kind of hard for you, and then hard to really grapple with in this book, looking back on it. That makes sense there.
That makes perfect sense. And it was an opportunity. It was a missed opportunity though, because I shared so much stuff that people really could have resonated with a bunch of people, like growing up in a single parent home, like my dad not being around. There's a million different things about my experience, not only as a biracial kid, but like that spans across the country, across the world. And I say that because I had a bunch of people reaching out about it. And no, I saw it as an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity to bridge that gap for people who hadn't spent a lot of time around someone who looks like me. and to maybe change their view and opinion about, their son or daughter being around someone like myself, hiring someone like myself, like a million different things. And it might have been too raw. That's the only conclusion I can come to, is that, they don't want to hear about the first Black bachelor talking about his dad being in jail or in prison. But that's my experience, and that's my truth. And I think that you'd be surprised to hear about, people who look like every type of person that have had that experience. Right. And when you share that and you allow people to be, and when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and people to share in that experience with you, that's where you see growth. And like, that's where people are like, yo, like, that's a real dude right there. Like, this is like, that's as real as it gets. Like, I was just trying to keep it as real as possible. And, it gets smogged out and covered by, someone calling someone a hoe in the house. It's like, you want to focus on someone calling someone a hoe, or you want to talk about some real stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, drop the ball. It is what it is, though.
Okay. Yeah. And, speaking on these real topics here, do you have any regrets about your time on the show? Like, maybe like going into that real raw space, maybe it was too much for the show for that time, looking back on it now?
No, I don't, because I feel like I know that everything happens for a reason. And I'm not perfect by any means. And everything that I said and the way that I went about it was to have the outcome play out like it did, and through how everything's played out, I think it's brought a lot of light on important issues and allowed me to grow as a person, Rachel, and a million other people who tuned into seeing how everything played out. And that's how God wanted it to work out, or it wouldn't have worked out that way. So I trust that. And as long as I'm doing things that, are in his will and how he wants me to be as a good person. And I can't worry about anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, as you mentioned, it led you to Rachel there right next to you, I guess. And so I did watch you guys, you had a video of like your own first impressions, which I loved. It was super cute. And like, you can just tell your dynamic is so real and just so genuine, which I love to see. So, I have to ask a little bit of questions there about the relationship. Like, how's everything going? Where do you guys envision things going? Maybe it is awkward if she's right there. I don't know.
No, but I wouldn't say anything that I wouldn't say in front of her. It's going well. And I think it's in part because we're so open and honest, and we spend so much time together, and we live our relationship outside of the expectations that are set on people in, the Bachelor world, Bachelor Nation. It's like people feel like they have to do certain things to be like, everything's good, or like this, look at us. It's like that's not us. Like, that's not our relationship. Like, when you start focusing on that and like what other people want from you, then like you're never going to be happy, because you're trying to please people who don't care. Like, we just care about each other and checking in with each other and making sure that everything we're doing is in line with being good people and growth. And when that's our focus, like, we have a good time. It's like everything that you want in a partner, and someone that you can talk to, trust, count on, dependable. It's nice. So I have no complaints.
Oh, that's so sweet. And like, I can just tell, like, you just lit up as you were talking about her. So like, you just tell it's so genuine between you two. So it's just so nice to see. And, you guys aren't doing things like the typical Bachelor franchise way, but do you guys envision maybe like a Neil Lane type of situation going down the road?
Yeah, if they want to provide it, that'd be great. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I know that that we're trending in that direction. When I wouldn't be with someone that I wouldn't consider marrying at this point in my life. So yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, I love to hear that. And I love hearing everything about the book. It's called First Impressions. Again, it's out May 3rd, and it's available for pre-order right now. Matt, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to chat with me today. This was such a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.